Good morning. Good morning. God gives us two hands, one to receive and one to give with. Billy Graham. Welcome to our service today. I'm Cheryl Francis. I'm a seminary student and I'm the guest speaker for today. Please join me in standing as you're able to sing our opening hymn, Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee, and remain standing for the prayer of invocation and the Lord's Prayer. Please join me in an attitude of prayer. Dear Father, Mother God, kindness flows not from a heart that is made of stone, but from a new heart that is given to us through your Spirit. Lord, teach us to be kind in heart, so that love, grace, and charity flow forth like a river. Give us a generosity that reflects your own. Thank you for providing the space, these people, and your Spirit to allow us to worship this morning. We are in gratitude for all that we have received. Please bless those who are watching from home as well as those present. And bless all those anywhere, wherever they may be, that are in need of healing in any area of their life. Before you, we are able to surrender any negative thoughts or negative influences that we may have, knowing that in your divine love, we are safe. All of this we pray together in the name of our way shower, who taught us to pray together, praying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Amen. You may be seated. We are now going to state the Declaration of Principles together. They will be on the screen. This is the foundation of our religion. We believe in God as infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitutes true religion. We believe in personal responsibility and that we create our own happiness and our unhappiness as we live in harmony or discord with natural, physical, and spiritual laws. We affirm that the existence and personal identity of the individual continues after leaving the physical world. We affirm that communication with spirit is a natural experience and is demonstrated through mediumship. We affirm that examples of prophecy and healing found in the Bible and other sacred texts are divine attributes found in all people. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is always open to any soul, here or hereafter. Luke 6:28. Give, and it will be given to you. Good measure, shaken down and running over, they will pour into your robe. For with measure that you measure, it will be measured to you. Jesus was very clear in his statement that it is more blessed to give than to receive. We all have abundance of blessings in our lives that were freely given to us by infinite intelligence. Whether it's the car we drive, the place we live, the clothes we wear, the spouse we have, the siblings we have, the parents we have, the friends we have, or the food we eat, everything comes from infinite intelligence. order to retain that intelligence and abundance in all areas, we have to give. We have to give more in order to receive. Sometimes giving speaks louder than the size of the gift. And that is the story of the widow's mite, which is in Mark. I'm going to paraphrase instead of reading out of the Bible. Jesus sat down opposite the place where offerings were put. They had a box or a place outside where people put offerings in before they went into the temple. And that was for the temple treasury. That was to keep the temple open and to pay for the priests or whatever that lived there. And many people threw in big amounts. And he's watching these people. And a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents, really. But Jesus saw this as an opportunity to teach. So he called his disciples to him and said, "Truly, I will tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others, because they gave out of wealth. She gave out of poverty and put in everything she had to live on." The widow gave in a different spirit than those of wealthy people who came and wanted to be known for their giving. She came silently to give what she had to a God that her heart was dedicated to. We don't know the details of that widow. We don't know what happened to her afterwards. But we can be sure that she was provided for, because the Bible teaches us, and we know by natural law, that the universe provides for us. Now, if that widow was praised for giving away everything that she owned, does that mean we have to give away everything that we own? No, of course not. But there is a danger in making our offerings just what we have left over. You know, what we have in our wallet. What's left after we pay everything else. Because if we do, we're not really giving the best of ourselves. We're simply giving what remains after all of our life is taken care of. I don't want anyone to drain their savings account. That isn't necessary. But neither should we be giving affordable. So affordable and so easy that we don't have to think about it. The universe looks at our heart. It doesn't matter if you're putting $1 in or 100 in. God looks at your heart, not the amount. And if your heart is not involved in giving, then you're missing the whole point of giving. So we have to have the right motive to give. In 1 John 3:17 it says, "Whoever has worldly goods and sees his brother in need and shuts his mercy from him, how can the love of God dwell in this person?" We all need the spirit of infinite intelligence to be active enough in us. We talk about the I am all the time. You know, the bit of divinity that's in us. We've got a beautiful picture that shows the flame within our heart of divinity. We have to keep that active, and one way to do it is when we do give, to be mindful of what we're giving and why we're giving it. But we have to keep our mind open about how we serve. Often we ourselves limit ourselves. I can't do that. I'm not good at that, you know. There's many instances in the Bible where God called people to do things and they said, "Not me." We don't see the same things that God sees. All right? We have to keep an open mind about how we can serve and be ready to receive guidance. And when we get it, to be faithful in performing whatever we're told to do. And sometimes, if you're a quiet person or a shy person, it might feel awkward to you. If a voice in your head tells you, smile at that person, or go over and talk to that person, or do whatever, which would be something you normally, wouldn't do. But the widow in the story gave everything that she had to live on. She threw herself on the grace of God in her existence. And I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just pointing out again, God sees in us what we as humans overlook. We all have a great variety of gifts. that we're not aware of, or we have no idea how to use. And that is where communication through meditation and prayer is so important, to keep in touch with that I am, and then be quiet and listen to what it tells you. Because true faith and infinite intelligence results in works. It's unavoidable. According to the law of attraction, mind action, and magnetism, it has to be. Natural law demands it. If you receive more than we give, it's okay, as long as we give. As long as we give. The more we give, the more we receive. It doesn't have to be just money. It can be blessings in any area that we need them. More friends, peace in our family, or financial difficulties that we're facing. You have to remember, if we shovel our gifts out, if we will chase every opportunity to give reads to people, to help people that we know are in need, to do everything that we can, if we're shoveling out our blessings and our gifts, God will shovel it in. And you have to know God's got a bigger shovel. So you're always going to receive more than you give. Years ago, something happened, and this lady, Irene Wright, put this story on Google. If you Google acts of kindness, this is a story that came up. Her preacher noticed a family standing in front of him in a New Orleans convenience store, and they didn't have enough money to pay for the few items that they had. So he tapped the man on the shoulder and said, "Don't turn around, but please accept this money." So the man took the money without ever seeing who gave it to him. 9 years later, the same preacher was asked to speak at another church in New Orleans. And after the service, a man walked up to him and shared this story. "Several years ago, my wife and our child were destitute. We'd lost everything. We were living in the car, and we agreed on a suicide pact, including the child, but decided first to give our son some food. So we stopped to a convenience store to buy him some milk and food. And while we were standing in line, we realized we didn't have the money to pay for it. But a man behind us said, 'Please take this money. God loves you.' We left the store and we drove to the designated site where we had decided this is where we were going to commit this suicide. We wept for hours. We couldn't go through with it. So as we drove away, we passed a church with a sign out in front that said, 'God loves you.' So we went to that church the next Sunday, and both my wife and I agreed that day to join. He then told the preacher, 'When you began to speak this morning, I knew immediately you were the man who gave us the money.' How did he know? The preacher was from South Africa and had a very distinct accent. He continued, 'Your act of kindness was more than a simple good deed. 3 people are alive because of it today.' So follow that little voice. Even if you're not comfortable with it, even if you don't want to identify yourself to the person you're helping, or the people you're helping, or the group that you're helping, that's fine. But follow it. The universe is going to multiply the smallest gift so many times over. Proverbs tells us, 'He who has pity upon the poor is a companion of the Lord, and he shall be repaid according to his works.' Sometimes we're asked to give up something, whether it's money, time, or talent, that is beyond mere convenience. Seriously consider the need for you to do this, because it's going to benefit you as well as the giver. When I was a young teen, maybe 12 or 13, my parents bought me a stereo, not a great big one, a little portable one, with speakers, because I only had a record player. And they advertised it in the paper for sale. And a young couple came and bought to buy the record player for my parents. parents. And my mother came up to my bedroom where I was at and said, you need to pick out a couple records to give these people to play. You need to donate some records to. I didn't want to give up anything. I mean, it was the first time anybody had suggested to me that I give up something I owned and was using. And I really wasn't too happy about it. But I did it because we were taught to listen to what our parents told us. You know, I went through, my mother said he's a young boy, so I went through my records, and a lot of them were the teen stuff, you know, yada, 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 I love you, whatever, or folk songs. But I found a couple of Earl I albums and things like that with traditional things like Jimmy Crack Corn and stuff on it. And I thought, well, I'm still listening to them, but you know, not so much. I'll give those to the little boy. So my mother told me to come downstairs with her and give these people the records. So I did, and they smiled and they were happy. I wasn't really affected by that. I was still kind of miffed that I had to give something that belonged to me away. You know, I wasn't in that giving mode yet. I was used to giving service, or used to giving a certain amount to the church or whatever, but not taking something that I needed or that I felt I needed. Of course I didn't need it. To somebody else who didn't have as much as I did. About a year later, my mother said, I want you to come with me. I'm going to visit this lady. And it was a lady that worked with her. She was a cook, and my mother was a cook in a convalescent home. This woman was the housekeeper. And she was an older woman, and she was raising her granddaughter. And I said, okay. I went everywhere with my mother, so it wasn't a big deal. She wanted me to go with her. So we got to the house, and it was my first conscious view of poverty. I had probably seen signs of it before, but I really wasn't old enough to put a name to it. The house was very small. They heated with a wood stove. They had a kitchen table and chairs and a couple easy chairs and a radio, no TV. You know, when I was growing up, who didn't have a TV? They didn't have one. So I looked in the rooms as my mother was talking to this lady, and I saw this room with a bed in, and it had 7 hooks on the wall, and on each hook there was a dress on a hanger that was neatly cleaned, pressed, starched, ready for the granddaughter to wear. But they were the style that maybe people wore 10 years ago. So my mother called me out to the kitchen, and we sat down at the table, and the lady gave us a snack, and her granddaughter came in, and I was shocked. I recognized her from school. She was a couple years below me. And the reason I recognized her is because she stood out. She stood out because she had the wrong kind of clothes. At a time in people's lives when you don't want to stand out. You know how bad it gets when you're a preteen, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. You start to get that feel you want to be like everybody else. So we finished what we were eating, and we were going home in the car. And for some reason, I remembered that little boy that had come to the house like almost a year ago. And I remembered how happy he looked when I handed those records over to his parents. And I was very proud of myself at that moment for giving him his records, even though I really wasn't, I was a very reluctant giver. You know, I had done it. And then I thought, you can't be proud of doing that, you know, because you were made to do it. But then I realized it was more than pride. It was this feeling that my heart was bigger, that I was a little bit lighter. And somehow by doing that, by giving that to somebody who needed it, I was a better person. So as we're driving home, I said to my mother, you know, why don't you just give my clothes that we give away after I grow out of them to the grandmother, because I think they would fit Linda, who was this girl. Even though I was small, she was 2 years later, she was below me because she was smaller than I was. So. And my mother said, yeah, that would be a good idea. I had forgotten all about this, completely forgotten until I started to write this sermon. And then I remembered these two things that had happened. And I thought, boy, my parents were right to try to show me things like that to make me understand, okay? They were not that bright or scheming or, strategic. This was just the way that they lived. And I understood what giving was about in that moment. And then I turned 14 and I was a boy and forgot everything I learned. I had to wait. Yeah, I had to wait until I got older for it to come back again. But as the thought came back to me of the different things that my parents provided for me, it really humbled me because I thought about how much I had been given, not only in material goods, but in really good practical lessons of how to be a good person. So what do I want from you? Okay, personally, nothing. That's your business. But I would like you all to understand that this place here, this building, the people that are here, all the people that are here, is a blessing from the universe. It really is. We have to honor it and be glad that it's here. And to want to participate. And you don't have to do much to participate, really. If you come to Psychic Fair and you pay for a reading, you're helping, you're participating. If you put a little bit in the collection plate, you're keeping the door open. If you ask friends to come and experience one of our lectures or one of our special events or a psychic fair, you're being of service to this group. And when you work on lessons that you've learned and you expand your consciousness, oh wow, then you're really serving. You're serving the entire world. It may not feel like it, but as your consciousness goes up and your awareness goes up, other people's go up also. A high tide raises every ship that's in the water, whether they want to be raised or not. And that's the bigger picture. That's really what we're trying to do here. We want people to come and participate with us as we raise our consciousness. And we try to learn how to be not necessarily a better person, but a spiritual person that knows how to live in the world, that knows what the natural laws are, what the natural order is, and how really to help people, because there's a trick to helping people. There really is. And the true benefit is that we have a place when we walk in the door, we know there's total acceptance here. There's not going to be anybody here that's going to criticize us for the way we think, or the way we dress, or the way we talk. There's going to be freedom of expression where we can exchange ideas, we can exchange concerns in comfort. And there is a place of unity where we feel like we are with like-minded people. And this is a gift. It's a gift that we get from infinite intelligence, but it's a gift that we get from everybody there that comes and sits and are congregates, and from everybody who is participating in teaching or preaching or giving music or ushering or anything. We have new technology. It's wonderful. Probably could use a little more. Might be able to use new carpet. But those things don't really matter. What we really are here for and what we want is to maintain that wonderful spirit that we have here. That spirit of serving and receiving spirit and expanding all of us. And that's really what's important. That's what we all aim for. So I hope that this has inspired you to think of giving in a different light. And just to have kind of a general different attitude about how you live your life. Because after all, as Jesus told us, it really is more blessed to give than it is to receive. And so it is.